Now the question becomes, where does the game start for the Hawks? We're going to get into that in a minute. But first things first, we got to give the Hawks more than their credit, because literally for the first time since December of 2016, they were able to get a dub in Milwaukee. And it
Right.
really was a wire to wire win for them. 121-106 was the final. They improved to 9-5 on the season. And Jarvis, there are so many little layers of goodness to what we saw last night. It's like, literally, where in the world do you want to start? So I really want to start by, of course, giving credit to a couple guys that we talked about even yesterday. Talked about the fact that if Onyeka Okongwu was going to be back, we felt like he was going to make a contribution, which he did off the bench.
Yes.
We talked
Yes.
about Clint Capella and how he's been just lights out,
Hold on,
double
hold on, hold on,
six.
hold on, hold on, T.
You want to go one by
His,
one?
his name is no longer Clint Capella on this show.
Easy?
His name is Clint Rodman. Sorry, I'm going. You don't have to call him that, but I'm gonna call him the man. His mama named him Clint Capella, but I'm gonna call him Clint Rodman. Clint Rodman is out there doing his thing. Go ahead.
So,
Continue.
so
My bad.
John's not Robin anymore. Jason's not Robin anymore.
No,
You took that title
Clint
from him?
Rodman, like Dennis
Oh,
Rodman.
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 Okay,
Sorry,
Rodman.
my Southern
That
Decatur,
ATL came
Atlanta.
out right
Sorry,
there.
my
You all
bad.
know.
I got excited.
When it comes to deciphering those
My accent came out.
accents.
Sorry.
That's
Please
a
forgive
side
me.
joke that we'll tell you all about one of these good days. But
Yes.
yes, we could give him Robin, because when you're talking about double doubles, 19 and 10 last night, it's a beautiful thing.
Yes.
And last but certainly not least, because we're going to get into a couple folks, DeAndre Hunter just really, really taking command of that game early with season high 24 points. Jarvis, you got to love what you saw out of the Hawks last night.
Absolutely, and I said this last night when I was watching the game. I was like, just from a team basketball
Yes.
standpoint, this just was one of those games for me. I just feel like, man, I hope it's a turning point as far as like, okay, Trae realizes I don't have to drop 30.
Right.
Dejounte saying, okay, I don't necessarily have to, go into the putting up so many shots and forcing getting people involved and all that stuff. But I think that this was one of those games where you hope this is like, okay, all right, this is our identity right here.
Yes.
Playing defense, being a smothering, playing excellent defense on Giannis. It was just masterful how Clint Capella and Onyeka Okongwu were able to defend Giannis Antetokounmpo to the point where he fouled out. So those are all the things that I just love seeing. But from a DeAndre Hunter standpoint, that's his game. I think that's the tape that whenever Nate McMillan feels like DeAndre Hunter is starting to slide, starting to slip, he needs to show that game last night against the Milwaukee Bucks. Being aggressive, going to the free throw line. He had 10 attempts from the free throw line and 10 for 10, as a matter of fact. Perfect from the free throw line. Those are the type of things that with your body style and with your improved handling of the basketball, Hunter is really setting himself up to be that guy. And we talked about this coming into the season, T. We know what DeAndre Hunter can do. We know what he's capable of. But this is the guy that we need to see night in and night out, T.
Yeah, and that's what we're liking, the consistency, because literally it's been maybe like 10, or not 10, excuse me. It's been 6 games. We're only in the 14 games into the season, and already 6 games, you've had all 5 Hawks starters score 10 or more. So that tells you that there's a lot of attention paid to detail and balance. And the other thing that you were talking about, Jarvis, is being aggressive. And that's how you become the team with the second highest percentage of points in the paint. I didn't say from the 3-point line. The Hawks.
Yes.
Second
Exactly. The jump shooting this team that we've seen in the past few years.
Right. And that speaks to the aggressiveness that you spoke about, because you can't get to that higher percentage of points in the paint unless you are taking it to folks and taking it to them on a consistent basis, which brings me to where we are now with the Hawks being 9-5 on the season. Jarvis, at this point last year, it was the exact opposite, 5-9. What is the biggest difference that has gotten them to literally flip the script on their record year over year?
It has to be the defense. I will go ahead and say that because they're just looking at some of the rankings. Well, I think they're 16th now as far as points given up, points allowed in the NBA in the entirety of the NBA. Because that's what we talked about, right? Coming to the season, we're not asking them to be the number one team. We're not asking them to be the Miami Heat or anything like that. Some of the great defensive teams in the entirety of the NBA. We're just asking them to be average, middle of the road. If they're a middle of the road team defensively, we're going to see the difference. And I think that last night was that. We saw what this team can do or what they're capable of if they're committing to playing defense. And then just from and I also thought it was kind of funny. I started to think about the show that we did yesterday when we were talking about AJ Griffin. AJ Griffin came in that mug in the first quarter, and I was just like, oh, I guess he found the matchup that he liked.
Yes.
He didn't mind AJ Griffin guarding or Grayson Allen or whoever, he may have come up against. So I was just like, oh, Nate, I hear you. Yeah, bro. Yeah. If the GM talking about that dude get more PT, bro, you better put him in. I don't care nothing about what you're thinking about as far as, the rookie. Oh, man. Hey, man. We like you, Nate. So, yeah, in order to stick around, go ahead and put the young pup in. And as soon as he comes in, that first shot is wet. Automatic. It's going in. Absolutely. Every time.
And speaking of, we want to keep you in place versus get rid of you, Ron Rivera. Riverboat Ron actually was able to sign an extension on some level to his tenure over with the Commanders. And of course, they ended the Eagles' unbeaten streak. And why is that important to you guys here in ATL? Because after you listen to us, we know you want to go and listen to Locked On Sports Today and hear their reaction to the fact that once again, the 72 Dolphins can sip, and tip for being the only unbeaten team wire to wire in a season. So again, you want big game recaps. Well, that was a big game indeed. And listen, they do their own for the culture. It's called Take of the Day. You want to check that out, then make sure you go to visit Locked On Sports Today. And that's at the Odyssey app. That is at YouTube. And that is wherever you get your podcast. First ATL Day Ones, then Locked On Atlanta. And Jarvis, I will tell you this, and we'll talk more about it tomorrow. Do you think that the Hawks have had their biggest test so far, or are they going to pass their biggest test tomorrow when they take on the Celtics?
Wow, that's an excellent question, and I'm probably not going to answer how you think I'm going to answer, but I don't. It's a big test because Boston, everybody that know they are the favorite in the East in my eyes. I picked them as far as being coming into the season as them being the number one team. Obviously, because they're coming off a finals run appearance against the Golden State Warriors. Mm-hmm. No reason not to pick those guys coming in, but they got another one coming up on Saturday, T. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
Raptors. That is the game that I got circled. I'm just like, all right, y'all got a chance to kind of feel each other out. Like I said, mentioned last night. Last night was the blueprint of how the Hawks should play every night. Obviously, they're going to take that to tomorrow night at State Farm Arena against the Boston Celtics. That's cool. But I got my eye on that Toronto Raptor matchup because that's the one I want to see. I want to see this team that we saw last night go up against that team at State Farm Arena.
Yeah, they've got to figure that one out Saturday. So, yeah, I would definitely say that that might be a 1A and a 1B as far as like
most definitely. Yeah, they're right there together.
1A might be Saturday. I can give Saturday 1A against the Raptors and 1B to the Celtics tomorrow night. But listen, if you are going to be like us a little bit and kind of nervous about what's going to happen, whether that's Wednesday or Saturday, you don't have to be nervous by yourself. All you have to do is get a Built Bar to make you feel all right in those moments of nervousness that you might have. Or even Sunday, if you're nervous about the return of Justin Fields to his home space. And that cookie dough chocolate bar is probably what's going to help to make you feel all right. Why? Because it's 100% real chocolate. And guess what? Only 160 calories. I mean, doing pretty good with that. And of course, the 15 grams of protein that are absorbed pretty darn quickly into your system, which means that you're able to use it for fuel just like we do. So if you want to check out cookie dough chunk puffs, you can go to built.com and don't forget to use that code locked on 15 because that's what gets you 15% off your first order. So again, check out build.com so you can get more information and also just place your order for those cookie dough chunk puffs. Locked on 15. That's how you get that 15% off.